there, welcome back to AutoNet. So I want to go back to basics right now and just talk about setting up your really basic app. So I'm going to have a simple HTML page here. I have a link to the style sheet that's on the CDN, and I have a script tag with a link to the CDN for the current version as of right now, which is version 4.4. Inside the body, I just have a div with a ID of view div, right? We have this viewport stuff on here. Don't worry about this right now. Maybe I'll talk about stuff, how that kind of stuff's used later on. Okay, so that's it. So now I've got some CSS in here as well. Basically what I'm saying here is that I want the HTML, the body, and that view div to have no padding, no margin, and I want them both height width 100%. Basically just take up the whole page, right? All right, awesome. Right now we got no output because I got no code. So let's write regular JavaScript in here. So I'm going to write require, and this is how we bring in the modules we want to use. And I'll just bring in the map for now. All right, so do that, and I'm going to call it actually Esri map. I've been doing this a lot more recently, just because I feel like it. So I'm going to say const map is equal to new. What's going on here? I can't type again. Equal to new Esri map. And the first thing we want to do is we want to make a base map. And let's go with topo in this case. Alright, so let's get rid of all the stupid errors there. Run it, and ta-da, nothing happened. Alright, why did anything happen? Well, that's because as opposed to version 3 of the JavaScript API, version 4, the map is simply nothing more than a data store. It doesn't have any ability to display itself on the page. And I actually talk about, I have a little diagram here from my book, which you can, it's a really cool book if you want. You can pick it up here, right? Cool book, pick it up here. Shameless plug. But anyway, I've got this diagram here, and you've probably seen some similar ones. I basically talk about how the map is separated from the view. Basically, all the services are encapsulated in the map, which essentially is now a data model, and the map is going to have the layers and some other information. And this data model can now be used in either a scene view or a map view to display the data. And the layers are then translated into what are called layer views. All right, so we got these layer views in here. And then those layer views contain the actual graphics that are being drawn on the map, which are going to be for feature services, or they'll be contain the information about what's drawn for the map. So it's up to the layer view to actually do the drawing manage the drawing of the layers. And it's up to the views to manage all the data that's inside the map, right? So everything's kind of separated out. So I need to have a view to display it on, right? So let's go ahead and let's do this little bit here. Why can't I type again? All right, so Esri views map view. Now I'm going to say map view. Now I can say const view is equal to new map view. Now the map view needs a couple pieces of information. First I need to know the container I'm going to put it in. That's going to be the view div. So now we're actually going to be rendering something on the screen. What map do I want to show? So I only got one map right now in my application, and I'll do it like that. And maybe I want to provide a zoom level or something, right? So I'll center it. And let's say I'm going to center it. If I do this the right order, I always forget what order I do this in. Ta-da! Okay, so now I can do a zoom, let's say 7. And there we go. So I gave it a few pieces of information, and now I'm able to display that map. Another thing you can do is you can go in here and you can actually grab a web map. So let me go to my content in here. I'm sure I've got maps in here somewhere. So I'm going to grab a web map. Just add in the web map ID for my item, and there we go. Now I've just loaded my web map. I can click on stuff and everything just works. Cool. So I can also check out some cool stuff here. I can do something like let's do map.load.then, and we're going to get a result here that I can then log out. Bam, there we go. So this is what I could actually do. Let's go ahead and comment this out. This down here. Clear all this, like it's all free to go. And bam. What I've done here is I've actually loaded the web map without displaying anything on the page. And I'm actually got access to the layers that are now part of the map. So it's got a couple of layers in there right now. And what I could do is I can go ahead and start accessing the layers, do queries on the layers that make up the web map without ever having to display that map on the page, because again, the map and the web maps and the API are pretty much just data models for the map itself. They don't display anything. So you can do some pretty cool stuff with that without ever having to touch a map view anyway to display it. All right, thank you.